Omni-Man and Eve discover Anissa's encounter with Mark. The story begins with Omni-Man soaring through the skies, heading back home. His mind is at ease, thinking about seeing Debbie again. As he lands, he walks through the door, ready to call out, "Honey, I'm home." But before he can finish, he freezes in place, completely stunned. Standing in front of him is Mark, his son. 5 long years had passed, and now, without warning, Mark was here, standing in their home as if he had never left. Omni-Man's emotions take over. He rushes forward, not caring about anything else, and pulls Mark into a strong embrace. It's as if he's afraid his son will disappear again if he lets go. Mark smiles. "It's good to see you, Dad." Overcome with joy, Omni-Man asks, "How long have you been back?" His voice is filled with disbelief and relief all at once. Mark nods, explaining, "There was an attack. Communications were down. I just made it home. Mom told me everything." As this reunion unfolds, in the background, Eve sits on the couch, while Debbie Grayson plays with little Tara. The innocent girl, full of curiosity, looks up at her grandfather and says, "Daddy is strong like you, Papa. He even lets me fly, if he goes really slow." Omni-Man chuckles, lifting Tara into his arms. "Oh, now I'm jealous." But Tara pouts, her small arms crossing. "You fly too fast. You scare me." Omni-Man nods knowingly. "I want you to be strong, Peanut. I scare you so you can learn to overcome fear. If you do everything slowly, you'll always be afraid." Debbie shakes her head. "Not now, Nolan. She's too young for one of your life lessons." A little while later, Mark sits with a troubled expression. Something is bothering him. He looks at his father and asks, "Why are you friends with Rex?" Omni-Man sighs. He knows this conversation was coming. Rex has wisdom, Mark. He's an ally of the Viltrumite Empire. Over time, that alliance grew into friendship. I wish you could have seen all the good he did before the war. Mark doesn't look convinced. His voice sharpens. "I don't care what he's done, not after everything he did." Omni-Man, still composed, replies, "Some people still oppose him, but even they saw standing with him as the only way to win the war." Before the conversation can continue, a loud noise suddenly echoes through the house. Mark and Omni-Man both turn toward the sound, instantly alert. In the next moment, they see Eve, her powers flaring wildly as she blasts Anissa backward. The force of the attack sends Anissa crashing to the ground. Anissa growls, pushing herself up, her eyes full of fury. "You try my patience, woman. I don't want to kill you." Eve doesn't back down. Her voice is ice cold. "I'd love to see you try." In the background, Debbie clutches Tara, shielding her from the chaos. Omni-Man immediately takes action, flying toward them. "Get Tara out of here," he commands. Debbie doesn't hesitate. She grabs Tara and moves her away from the fight. Meanwhile, Mark rushes in, grabbing Eve's arm. "Eve, stop this." But Eve refuses to back down. "Don't help her, Mark." Omni-Man lands beside Anissa and extends a hand to help her up. But before she can react, Eve lunges forward, and Mark has to grab her, holding her back. "I don't want you killing someone, or her killing you." Mark pleads, trying to contain her fury. Eve's hands tremble with energy, her voice shaking with rage. "After what she did to you, I can't just let this go." Omni-Man's eyes narrow. His gaze shifts toward Anissa. His mind starts racing. What had she done? He moves with deadly precision, grabbing Anissa by the throat, lifting her off the ground. His grip is firm, his tone dangerously low. "What did you do to my son?" Anissa's eyes widen in shock. She struggles to speak. I didn't." Mark, still holding Eve back, tries to step in. "Dad, she didn't do anything." Eve's jaw clenches. Mark cuts her off, desperate. "She didn't do anything." Omni-Man stares at his son for a long moment, then releases his grip. Anissa stumbles back, catching her breath. She hesitates before whispering, "I just came to say." Omni-Man doesn't let her finish. His voice is sharp. "Not now. Leave." Anissa looks hurt but nods. She takes one last glance at Mark before flying away. Eve crosses her arms, still fuming. Mark just looks exhausted. Later that night, peace settles over the home. Tara sleeps soundly on Eve's lap. Eve sighs, her anger replaced with guilt. "I'm sorry," she whispers. "She asked me about you, Mark. I couldn't believe it. I lost it. I don't remember the last time I was that furious." Mark, standing nearby, rubs his temples. "Do you think I don't have enough going on already?" His voice is strained. "The last thing I need is my parents knowing. Who knows what my dad would do?" Eve looks up at him. "You need to figure out something. He's not going to believe that nothing happened." Mark sits beside her, his gaze softening as he looks at Tara. This is what matters. It's all I care about. Us. My family." Eve watches him closely as he whispers, "I don't want anything to ever get in the way of that." Meanwhile, across the city, Anissa returns to her Earth home. Inside, a man sits on the sofa, holding a baby girl in his lap. As Anissa enters, he looks up. She smiles softly. She asleep. The man nods. Just zonked out. Anissa walks over and kisses him on the forehead. You're a good man, Scott. Scott chuckles. The day was uneventful. Told you I could handle it. Anissa kneels beside the couch, and suddenly, a tiny voice calls out, Mommy. A young boy runs toward her, arms outstretched. I missed you. You were gone too long. Anissa scoops him up, holding him close. Don't worry, Marky. I'll never leave you. A long pause. That name, Marky. In this context, it feels really strange. And if you want to know what happens next, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. This story is an emotional roller coaster, seamlessly blending love, trauma, vengeance, and moral dilemmas into a gripping narrative. Right from the start, the warm and emotional reunion between Omni-Man and Mark sets a tone of relief, only for the story to take a sharp turn into tension and conflict. Omni-Man's reaction to seeing Mark after 5 long years is deeply touching. His raw, unfiltered joy shows that beneath the warrior, beneath the Viltrumite, he is still a father first. It's a beautiful moment of reunion, contrasted against the heavy, unspoken weight of what Mark has been through. The audience is drawn into this emotional storm, feeling both the joy of homecoming and the unease of lingering pain. The presence of Adam, Eve, and Debbie in the background adds a layer of warmth and normalcy. Tara, the innocent child in the middle of it all, is a brilliant touch. Her playful admiration of her father and grandfather is a reminder of the innocence that still exists in this brutal world. But Omni-Man's words to her, about fear making her stronger, hint at the harsh Viltrumite ideology that still lingers in him. This subtle detail is powerful. It shows that even though he has softened, his core beliefs are still deeply ingrained. It's these small yet nuanced character moments that make the story feel so rich and real. But just as the audience starts to settle into this moment of family bonding, the tension shifts abruptly when Omni-Man and Mark discuss Rex. The conflict of ideology between father and son is apparent. Omni-Man sees pragmatism, alliances, and survival, whereas Mark still holds onto his moral compass. His refusal to accept Rex's redemption is a testament to his character. He isn't as easily swayed as the others, and he refuses to compromise his values. This debate sets the foundation for the greater theme of moral ambiguity, where characters are forced to question what they stand for. Then comes the explosion of conflict. Adam Eve, unable to contain her rage, attacks Anissa. This moment is incredibly powerful because it speaks volumes about how deeply she cares for Mark. Her anger isn't just about vengeance, it's about love, about protecting the man she loves from the pain he has been suppressing. Her fury is righteous, raw, and feels incredibly real. It's not just a battle, it's personal, and that's what makes it so intense. And then we have Omni-Man's reaction to learning the truth. This is the moment that shakes everything. The way he instantly grabs Anissa by the throat, demanding answers, is terrifying yet completely expected. Omni-Man, for all his faults, loves his son fiercely, and in that instant, his rage is not just as a Viltrumite warrior, but as a father who has just realized his son was wronged. The way Anissa is left speechless, the way Mark tries to defuse the situation despite his own pain, and the way Eve refuses to back down, all of it is charged with so much tension that it feels like the air itself is heavy. It's a moment where everything could spiral out of control, and yet Mark, despite everything, chooses restraint. His decision to defend Anissa, to not let vengeance take over, speaks volumes about his character. It's heartbreaking because it shows just how much he doesn't want violence to define his life, even when he has every reason to seek revenge. But just when the dust seems to settle, the final scene flips everything on its head. Anissa returns home, not as a warrior, but as a mother, and the revelation that she has a child, a son named Marky, is both unsettling and deeply thought-provoking. This moment forces the audience to question everything. Is Marky truly Mark's child? If so, what does that mean for him? What does that mean for Anissa? The name Marky itself is haunting. It's a reminder of what happened, of the terrible, twisted connection between Anissa and Mark. This cliffhanger is executed masterfully, because it doesn't just leave the audience wanting more. It leaves them feeling conflicted, disturbed, and deeply invested in what happens next. This story excels in emotional depth, character-driven conflict, and high-stakes drama. It isn't just about battles and powers. It's about the weight of choices, the scars of the past, and the struggle to move forward. Every character feels real, every reaction feels earned, and the story keeps the audience on edge, never giving them a moment to breathe. If anything, adding more insight into Mark's internal thoughts, his struggle, his pain, his need for peace. could elevate the emotional depth even further. But as it stands, this is a gripping, emotionally charged, and incredibly compelling story that leaves a lasting impact.